here, Dr. Marjorie Chikoore, the living spouse of the late Reverend Christopher Chikoore. Some have followed her. You have seen her on social media from the days of the funeral. We have seen so many clips going around, mostly majoring on the spicy relationship that the two of them had as pastor and spouse, a story that may not have been told in many circles. But Dr. Marjorie, speak to us a little bit of how you are feeling beyond the loss of your spouse, the cherished Chris. How has been your experience from that day to this day? And what memories do you have?
Thank you for allowing me this opportunity. I would like to say I'm excited. I'm at a place of joy and grief at the same time. Mm-hmm. But what is amazing is the way Chris' legacy is continuing. I am overwhelmed. I am happy that the ministry we started a long time ago is continuing. In the manner and in the progress and process of grieving, I am just excited that we are able to continue to preach that true love still exists, and we can help from all angles. Now I know that the society needs this, and for your own information, February is already fully booked with people who want to come to experience what we have experienced, mm-hmm. and to move on and find ways to be happy in their marriages.
Yes, indeed, finding a way to be happy in marriages. Yes, we read so much about marriages in the Bible as an institution ordained by God, but what broke the social media and the airwaves was the intimacy perspective that you brought in, Dr. Marjorie, into the whole conversation. Yes. Some have said the Christian marriages are boring. Some have said Christian marriages, there's no intimacy in there. How do you see the marriages of Christians, and not just Christians, but also pastors and their spouses?
First of all, Reverend Maforo, marriage is how you make it. You can choose to be happy. You can choose not to be happy. From my experience, we started our marriage on a basis of ignorance. We didn't even know how to be intimate in the first place. Mm. So we would read books together. And when we were reading, we would say, oh, let's try this.
What kind of books?
Gary Chapman's book, like The Language of Love. We started talking about what people would want to understand. We discovered that marriage is not just the missionary position. I discovered that when you are in a marriage, it's trial and error. And when we tried everything, we discovered, it's not one way of doing things. Mm. You can do marriage in the afternoon, you can have intimacy in the afternoon, you can have intimacy at night, you can have intimacy in the kitchen, in the bathroom, just exciting things you do together and discover together. That's how we have been going on with our intimacy.
You just brought in the word discovery, to say marriage is a discovery, and when somebody goes out in the bundu, sometimes you are hunting for something and you find something else, or you are shocked along the way. Describe how that concept of discovery. What have you discovered, the good things and the bad things that you discovered?
First of all, Reverend Maforo, there's something that I just want to take note of in the church, outside the church, There is this thing called pornography. You have seen the world is looking at pictures and bringing it into a marriage. When we come to say we discovered it ourselves, it's the two of you talking about what is important in this relationship that you need to do. And you try by communicating with each other how you should enjoy your spouse. And in doing that, this discovery of finding it out between the two and not reading somebody else's experience is the best, because you are original. You are not taking it from outside.
And you brought about one of issues that is brought within the conversations of marriage, pornography within the marriage institution. How does pornography affect couples? How does it affect in terms of self-discovery, in terms of building that intimacy between two people? What are the problems that come with trying to learn through viewing pornographic material?
When we talk about marriage and when we talk about love, we are saying, how do you feel for your other? Mm-hmm. And when you are expressing your feeling for or for the other, and you then bring in outside forces, things like pictures, videos, you are now borrowing something into what was already designed by God. God designed intimacy between the two people, and you don't have to study it from reading those pictures and videos that people are bringing in. And you know what I discovered? When you look at a pornography and then you sleep with your mate, what you are doing is, in your mind, this is not your wife, this is not your spouse. Mm-hmm. You are thinking of what you saw, and that already has betrayed the relationship between the two of you. So when I say discovery, it's more exciting to say, oh, this position has been so good for us. And you know what we have been doing with my husband? When we do couples retreats, we now go with what we have discovered to tell them that, you know, it's okay to make mistakes. So when you are trying to do this and that and discovering this is better, and discussing and communicating and making it better. And it has worked for us.
So in other words, you are saying, when we focus on the material that has been produced by others, when we focus on the video productions produced by others, we lose ourselves.
Yes.
We lose that sense of actually learning from each other or teaching others the ropes as we progress.
Yes.
What sort of lessons would you speak to the young people, the young couples that are getting into marriages? Most of them, they then say, we are frustrated, the expectations were too high. How do they manage those high expectations or low expectations?
Expectations. First of all, when you are in a marriage, you must know this. You bring in 100%. You don't bring 50% and expect 50%. Mm-hmm. If I bring the whole of me into the atmosphere, and he brings the whole of himself into the atmosphere, then there is not much expectation, because what I want him to do for me, I first do it to him. And when you do, that is a language already that already works. When I know my husband loves to eat sadza, I cook the sadza, I bring it here. You see the next morning, oh, Marjorie loves coffee in bed. You see him bring, because I gave 100%, and he's thinking, what can I do to make her happy? So happiness is you giving it, and then it coming back to you.
You wrote a book about finding your Chris. Mm-hmm. Give us a bit of background on that, and what sort of messages are you trying to send home for anyone who then gets that book to read it? What are they expecting?
When I wrote this book, I was thinking people need to be empowered in their marriages. I started with the dating part. Before you get married, you need pre-counseling sessions. It is during this time that you discover there's one thing that I really want to emphasize on empowering these young couples. You should know each other well before you get married. Secondly, intimacy should come when you get married. Don't start with intimacy before you get married. And don't settle for less. Some women are telling me that when if you don't give him yourself, you go to another person. You cannot measure the love of your mate by sleeping with him before marriage. You measure by the respect that they give to you. For us, it was 7 years without intimacy. And still, he respected that because he knew I wanted it that way, and he respected it. And when we got married, because of that, I respected him as well. So it's a matter of finding a common ground and knowing your values. When you do that, your marriage will flow because you listen to each other, you respect each other, you love each other. Love is key. If you love someone, you can do anything for him. And what we mean by love is unconditional. It's not, if you do this, then I'll do this, but just unconditional love.
Unconditional love, there we have it. But doctor, what are the problems that then come with premarital sex? What are the challenges that then happen to the young people that are involved in premarital sex?
First of all, when a man sleeps with you, the discussions we are having is when a man sleeps with you, he might be thinking, oh, how many men have you slept with? But he is forcing you to do it to see if you are strong and if you have values on this area. If you do not have these values, maybe you go to another person, and then when this person says no, this is the mating type. You know, these days there are words and phrases like, oh, she's not a mating type, he's not a mating type. And the main thing they are saying is, oh, he can just open his legs for anybody. And then we are teaching that you should take care of yourself. You should make sure that no sex before marriage. Because when you do that, when you're married, you start discovering together and you enjoy together. You don't want a situation where one knows a lot before they are married and you don't know. Then you start judging each other. Where did you get this? How did you find this out? Start together. The journey becomes sweet.
Indeed, the journey starting together, walking that journey together. Two people cannot walk together unless they have agreed. And we have heard it from Dr. Marjorie Chikoore. She says, if we are going to go on that discovery journey as a married couple, as young couples that are getting to marriage, it is important to agree on certain values. The values that say no to premarital sex, which means we are talking about abstinence. But is this a gospel that can be preached to young people and understand it and embrace it? Are they able to embrace that?
People need to be educated. Sometimes we go into the world and say, oh, this time you cannot do certain things, you cannot do this, you cannot do that. But aim to be different. I teach my granddaughters, I have 6 granddaughters. Every morning they get up to go to school. I said, you dare to be different. If people tell you to don't follow the crowd. Don't allow pressure to change who you are. Keep your values. And when you do that, it will help you as you grow. So it's working for most people who come to these counseling sessions. That's why my ministry is going to cover married couples, singles, youths, so that everyone is involved in this journey of learning what to do, since the world is portraying another picture that is different from the reality.
Here we come to the end of this conversation. still opening a platform that she is available anytime. Dr. Marjorie Chikoore, our guest for TV Ebenezer, who has been sharing some insights on finding your own crease. As a young lady, you can find your own crease. And as a young man, you can also find your own Marjorie.
Yeah.
So she is here for us, United Methodist young people, and across denominations, across the world. She is a marriage evangelist. She speaks into that line. So it has been a pleasure, my guru, speaking to you. God bless you.
Thank you, Reverend Maforo. Thank you, Bamkuro.
Bless you.